excuse me, check out KINGUIN.net, your opportunity to make fantastic savings on predominantly PC games, but also console ones as well. Games such as Star Wars Battlefront 2, Assassin's Creed, even GTA. With 24/7 customer support, you can be rest assured it's safe, it's reliable, it's efficient. On top of that, there's extra savings to be had as long as you enter discount code BOURNE at the checkout. That's KINGUIN.net, link and discount code in the description box. Gran Turismo Sport. Suggestion, how about some dynamic weather? Newsflash, your boy's back. Bourne in the building, aka Bourne Mac. And I'm still on a high, I'm still rejoicing, I'm still celebrating, I'm still up on the ceiling, yo, with the fantastic news that we had recently released from Polyphony themselves, that we will be getting our offline single player career mode, as well as other goodies coming back to Gran Turismo Sport. Now, those who have been following me for a while would know that I'm quite an opinionated person, I'm quite a vocal person, I don't really hold much back. However, with the subject of dynamic weather, I want to come at it in a different way, okay? So as we know, Gran Turismo Sport is a game which doesn't actually have any form of dynamic weather whatsoever. This is a feature that I feel is really important for various reasons, two of which I'm going to go into shortly. But firstly, what I want to do is just touch on a potential and possible reason as to why the folk over at Polyphony decided to go against putting dynamic weather in the game at the start. Now, I was actually watching a developer interview during E3, and one of the things that came up in their reason for not implementing this feature was they wanted to ensure that the game ran at a solid 60 frames per second. Now, those of you that have been playing Gran Turismo, not just Gran Turismo Sport, but I'm talking Gran Turismo right from PlayStation 1, or maybe those of you that are too young to remember that from PS2, 3 or whatever, one thing that remains a constant throughout the whole series is the acute attention to detail. Gran Turismo is arguably, and in my opinion, undoubtedly, the most well-presented racing game that has ever existed, and that includes action races, that includes simulation races. What I'm talking about is the way in which they historically put the game together. Each car model is individually developed from the ground up. The menu system has an unmatched, unrivaled and unparalleled, like, buttery smooth feeling. To actually go from menu to menu, to actually go from option to option, setting to setting when playing a Gran Turismo game is always a pleasure. And that's also aided by things like the type of music that's playing in the background. Smooth, relaxing, somewhat therapeutic. Even taking a look at Gran Turismo Sport, all other games have just the basic in-game photo modes. What these guys have done, have developed something on top of that called scapes. It's all very well and good being able to take a pretty picture of your car on a track, but how about putting it in front of some sort of iconic landscape, a beautiful picture to add more depth, character, and perhaps even tell a story about the subject matter in hand. These are all the little nuances, the little nuggets that make Gran Turismo the franchise that it is. The thing is that when you implement things like dynamic weather into a game, what you're essentially doing is you're asking the hardware, in this case the PS4, the GPU, to work a lot harder. There's more polygons to render, there's more stuff to hold in virtual memory and all that stuff there. I'm not going to get too technical, but essentially it's more taxing on the hardware because you've just got more things going on, whether it be thunderstorms, whether it be clouds overhead, whether it be sun going into snow, not to mention the on-track puddles, the reflections. It's just a lot more detail, and with more detail and with more demand, you're more than likely to have frame rate drops. For a team that is so focused on presentation, their logic behind not putting it in, it makes sense. It actually makes sense. Sometimes it's not important to see the end action as it is to understand the logic behind an action. So in this case, I understand what they're doing. However, here's the thing, Gran Turismo has always prided itself on calling itself the ultimate simulator, or the real simulator, or whatever the motto was. I can't remember. I'm sure one of you guys can remind me in the comments. Now, whether or not it is the most closest thing we're going to have to a proper simulator, I don't know. You know, that's up to you guys out there to discuss. I know there's Assetto Corsa fans out there, I know there's iRacing fans out there. Regardless, the point is, if that's the title you want to live up to, you can't just focus on simulating the cars, because when it comes to racing, cars and tracks are just a couple of elements, but the third element, probably the most crucial element, is the environment. The environment is what changes races. The environment is what brings certain races to life. I live in London. We can have all 4 seasons in one day here. It's very easy for that to happen. racing, and not just in London but in other parts of the world as well. The point is, if you want to put together a package which is a true reflection of what really happens on a racing track, you need to implement dynamic weather. It's part and parcel of racing. The other reason why I feel it's really important for them to focus on this in the future is that it brings something to races which you cannot buy, something that you cannot forge, something that you cannot orchestrate, and that is unpredictability. Now, let me explain something. I'm not very good at racing games, admittedly. My skills are limited, as you guys have seen, and you're probably going to see when I get Gran Turismo Sport, I'm going to be screaming at the screen in sheer annoyance at my own failings. The thing is, though, is that I've got quite a deep knowledge of motor racing. I've actually been watching it since the age of 6 years old. I watch the Le Mans 24-hour race every year. I watch a little bit of NASCAR. I'm a huge fan of Formula 1. When I was younger growing up, I used to go to the British Touring Car Championship every now and again. I remember watching the late, great Colin McRae become the World Rally Champion. Look, I can go on forever. The point is that not only am I a fan of motorsport, but I'm a diverse fan of motorsport. I watch different types. And what I can say is the one thing that they all have in common is when the weather changes, all of a sudden it becomes more exciting, because what you got is situations where you have to react to things that you hadn't planned for. You're in a race which is 64 laps long. You've got to lap 32. You've mastered the perfect racing line. You know where the marbles are. You know where the best grip is. But all of a sudden, a torrential downpour starts. The track loses grip. That perfect apex that you were hitting at the end of the bus stop chicane is now hazardous and full of water. You've got to adapt and change the way in which you drive. You made a pit stop on lap 12 to change and put on a new set of slick tyres. It starts raining on lap 13. All of a sudden you've got to make another unscheduled pit stop. You've gone from leading the race down to 14 and now to fight your way back up again with only 6 laps left. These are just scenarios off the top of my head, scenarios that I've seen. This is what true motor racing is all about. Keeping you on your toes, making you think impulsively, and most importantly, as a simulation-based game, making the player adapt to ever-changing surroundings. So, the point of this video, this is me asking Polyphony, based on the 2 reasons that I've just laid out, do you think you can optimize the game enough? Do you think you can optimize the software, the game engine, maybe perhaps find a way of reducing its overall demand on the PS4 to be able to implement dynamic weather at some point in 2018? Is that possible? If not, fair enough, I totally understand it, but I'm just throwing the idea out there because honestly, it will take the game onto a whole new level of realism. It really will. On top of that, and most importantly, again, it's something that the fans have been asking for. It's something that people have been wanting for. It's something that people have been dropping in comments and all sorts. So, in this very good spirit you've shown of listening to your fans and, you know, responding with a fantastically looking offline mode, which is coming in a few weeks, and new cars and tracks, can we get dynamic weather at some point in 2018? Because at the end of the day, you're a business, you want to sell more games, and let's be honest, the news that you guys have just released about the impending update, I can tell you now, it has definitely gained you a few sales. And if you don't believe me, what I'm going to do now is I am going to read to you a few of the comments from the video where I announced that the offline single player career mode is coming back. So again, an impromptu spontaneous shout out video, if you will. So starting things off, we've got Banner King 12 who says, so they added a single player campaign into GT Sport, huh? Instant buy in bold letters with 22 likes. Next up, we've got GoldenEye Gaming. Are we happy? Of course we are. That GT mode looks incredible. It's not only a GT mode, it's a nostalgic ride through every cup. Who remembers Boxer Spirit? I certainly do. I certainly remember Boxer Spirit, sir. I certainly do. Next up, we've got Laughing Boys Games. Awesome news. Thank you, Bourne. I will be getting it now. As always, great video. Cheers, fella. Next up, we've got Blitz Gaming. Don't sleep on GT. They coming back, baby. Few JDM cars added, and it's been a few weeks from release, and we've got GT League by another 6 months. See how much will be in the game. LOL, laugh out loud. Next, we've got Robert, who says, that's fantastic news. Though I found nothing wrong at all with the gameplay on GT Sport, the single player career mode is a blast. New cars, new tracks, I can't wait. Thanks for the news, great channel. Thank you very much, kind sir. We now have Carlos Gamara, who says, now I'm interested in GT Sport, can't wait for what else it adds, and maybe I'll get it. Good stuff. Next up, we've got Diego Acosta Carasquillo. My accent is terrible. Did you say single player career on GT Sport? Buy. Next up we got Saba7H. Now I can buy GT Sport, which is also the same sentiments from David Reyes. Now I buy this game. Next up we've got Cryptic_ZA. I'm just so surprised they managed to keep all these DLC updates free. It shows PD is a passionate team working in the game industry that puts fans first before making money. That's pretty rare these days, I agree. Next up we've got Marcelo. I feel like gaming is starting to slowly come back to a golden era. A lot of developers have been listening in the past few months, and it makes me happy to see that money is no longer the only thing you see in their minds. Props to Polyphony Digital. This was a great journey so far, and now it will be even better. Do you see what I'm saying? Aiden Jackson. I legit wasn't going to buy it, but looks like I will now. Yay. Original Slaptrain. Hey? Slaptrain, is that you? Just a tap. I'm a sprint across the water to get this game. Only Jesus could sprint across water from what I know. Brilliant, good stuff. Ben B, GT Sport is on sale in the PS Store for Black Friday, about 50% off, totally worth it. Lawardi Feud, shut up and take my money. The Game Loop, hey, check out this guy's channel, yeah? The Game Loop's got good content. Go and check him out, go subscribe, and tell him that Bourne sent you up there, yeah? So happy about this. We'll probably get the game now and definitely gonna make a video about this. Patrick Carlotti, what great news. Kazunori listens to the fans. Forza Gran Turismo Sport. Next we've got Young EZ Productions. Well, actually, come to think about it, if he's from the UK it will be EZ, but if he's from America it will be EZ, because Z's pronounced Z. Anyway, he says, my butthole puckered up when the FD-RX7 was mentioned on top of GT mode being announced. My butthole completely shut. Oh gosh. We got Jean the Duff who says yes, yes, yes. We've got the Jap fanboy who says yes, yes, with loads of exclamation marks at the end. Good stuff. We've got Hertz Blut who says, and a perfect announcement with the Black Friday offer they have on PSN Store as well. Made my purchase easy this week. Can't wait. I can't wait either, fella. I can't wait either. We got Sir Creeps a lot. Hey, don't creep up behind me, sir, okay? Now I'm getting GT Sport. We got Need for Speed Racing Master. Now it's a perfect Gran Turismo. Probably the best one in years. We got Rapid Shot Games. Yeah! We got Melination GT11. Yes, I actually had Gran Turismo 3 going through my mind when I saw that career mode was coming back, which I still don't understand why it wasn't on there from the start, but hearing this, I'll definitely be returning to GT Sport once these updates drop. We got Abert521 who says, finally, I have a purpose to play GT Sport again. We got John Lee Marshall. I commented on a previous vid of yours that a career mode may be added, and my gut said they would. What a game it will be now. Caters for more people now, as many have no interest in online racing. Exactly. John Lee Marshall, I think you've summed it up perfectly. You've summed it up brilliantly. My whole campaign, my whole determination was to make people understand that choice is important. There's nothing wrong with the online mode. There's nothing wrong with the online career mode. I think it's good. But there are people out there who do not want to play that, and there are people out there who want both. And now GT Sport does just that, offers both. And finally, the last comment I'm going to read out is from Dark Lion. My inner child wants to cry in joy. As you can see, I had to respond to that in a typically stupid Bourne way. Yeah. So, the two things to take away from this, guys. First and foremost, what are your thoughts on dynamic weather being brought to GT Sport? They haven't made any announcement whatsoever, hence the reason why the thumbnail says that this is a request. But do you feel it's important? Do you feel it will spruce up the game a little bit? Or maybe you just don't like raining simulated orientated games? Who knows? You let me know in the comments. If it's your first time around here, I wish you a Bourne welcome. As always, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and swing the damn hell out of the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. And in the meantime, I'll see you when the next video comes out. Take it easy. Peace.